All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you can join us on a Friday. Man, this has been a rough week. It really has. It's hit home for me. I mean, I was a huge Kobe guy, and of course, it is absolutely fair, and the news cycle should continue to cover what Kobe Bryant meant, his daughter, his 13-year-old daughter, Gigi, but it is also important to remember those others that lost their lives on that fateful day on Sunday, and one of those great men was Coach John Altobelli, as I mentioned, the Orange Coast College baseball coach. Their season is getting ready to start. And it wasn't just Coach Altobelli. He also lost his wife, Carrie, and his daughter, Alyssa. It is an awful tragedy. We're very lucky to have with us on the line right now to talk about his legacy is Jason Keller, the athletic director for Orange Coast College. Mr. Keller, thank you so much for joining us under such difficult circumstances. We appreciate it, sir.
No, thank you. I've been saying all week, and Nate Johnson, our acting head coach, our big focus is making sure that we're telling John and Carrie and Lys's story this week. So anybody that wants to talk about John, we are more than happy to talk about him because he was just that amazing.
I appreciate that, and I certainly want to do that with you. If we can go back to, can you remember the first time you met John Altobelli? What do you remember about that conversation?
Oh, I've been trying to remember that. I've known John for close to 14, 15 years now. When I worked at another college in our conference, and his brother Tony has been getting a lot of love, obviously, this week. He's our sports information director,
right?
And that was the position I held. And so my first interaction, I wish I could remember it completely, but it would have been similar to, it's a baseball game, and I'm walking over to get a starting lineup from Coach Alto.
Right.
But over the years, those conversations got longer and longer, and he really took the time to chat with me pregame. You could always see the wheels turning, but he still would take the time and talk to me before first pitch and see how everybody was doing. He was great like that.
And I wanted to ask you, what was his relationship like with Kobe Bryant? I understand that his daughter played on the same team as Gigi, correct? That's my understanding. But what was his relationship like with Kobe Bryant? How long did they know each other for?
Yeah, the relationship was through their daughters. They played basketball together, and that's been a few years now. And it was a really good relationship. John talked fondly about it, and he loved telling Kobe stories. He was never bragging about it. It was a buddy of his, and more than anything, it was talking about Alyssa and what she was doing with basketball. But they were close. I know John told me a story after we won the state championships this last May that he came home and he had presents from Kobe, like congratulations from Kobe.
Wow.
They were close, and John had Kobe out to a practice before to talk to the team, and it was a good friendship.
That's incredible. So they were obviously flying to a basketball game where his daughter and Kobe's daughter were playing. I hate to ask you this question, but when was the first moment that you had heard about this horrific tragedy?
It was noon on Sunday, and it all unfolded really quickly. The first thing I heard, it was a text message about Kobe. It was, kind of the question, Kobe died today? And I instantly said, what? And then I instantly got a text message from one of my coaches that was asking, hey, could you get a hold of John? I know he flies with Kobe sometimes.
Oh, boy.
And I tried calling John, got his voicemail, and so I called his brother, and all in total, it was by 12:05 was when I was on the phone with Tony, and he was saying, it's true. And he said, you heard the news? I said, yeah. Wait, what news? And he said, John was with them.
Oh, no.
Devastating.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry you and the entire Orange Coast College family having to go through this. It's just terrible. If you're just joining us, his name is Jason Keller. He is the athletic director for Orange Coast College. On that fateful helicopter flight, it was Coach John Altobelli also losing his wife and his daughter, which makes it even more worse than it already was. I guess moving forward now, Jason, my understanding is you guys played your first game the other day on Tuesday. Knowing what he meant to your university and to all the players that he coached, how do you get through this? I know that's kind of a loaded question. I'm just trying to go back, Jason, I'm sorry. When I was, in college and I played college tennis, and if something had happened to my coach like this, I don't know how I'd be able to play. I mean, how are these strong young men able to get through this?
and that's it. That's just it. They've been strong. We did play Tuesday. The game didn't finish, so we are still kind of in the middle of our season opener, if you will. But I left the decision up to the team. And I told Coach Johnson, I said, it's going to be up to the guys what they want to do, if they want to practice, if they want to play. And we were on the field on Sunday after we heard the news, and some of our leadership on the team, a couple players came up to me and they said, we want to practice tomorrow and we're going to play Tuesday. And all I've been telling the guys every day, today's the first day I haven't seen them yet. I just haven't been on campus. I'll be checking in with them at practice in a little while, but every day I just keep telling them how proud I am. They have shown amazing strength. They want to play in John's honor. They want to keep playing baseball because John would have wanted to keep playing baseball.
Yeah. And I want to share a story that I think is kind of heartwarming, and you've alluded to this, and it's the fact that Coach John Altobelli always would tell you, and he would tell people that he wanted the foul poles painted because there was like rust on the foul poles, right? And I guess it was never done. And I kind of want you to take it from there, but I guess you had a moment yourself on the field where you were kind of talking to John from up above. Can you just give me a little bit of that story? Because I think it's kind of heartwarming, it's kind of funny, and maybe you could share that with us if you can.
Yeah, so we had, with John's efforts, we got our field redone a few years ago to synthetic turf, and with it, the fences had to be replaced. So it left these gaps on the foul poles where the brackets used to be, and so there's these rusty, like 2-3-inch gaps. And I keep saying 70% of my text messages from John are probably, what's the update on the foul poles? When are the foul poles getting painted? So Sunday I'm on the field. I'm crying. I'm at a loss. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know where we're going to go. And I look up and I look right at the right field foul pole, and I just shook my head and I said, of course, sorry, John, the foul poles still aren't painted. It's just
yeah.
There's a part of me that almost doesn't want to paint them now, so that I keep remembering that. But
sure.
Yeah, that was a moment for me, definitely.
Do you remember the last conversation you had with Coach Altobelli, and can you share that with us?
Yeah, it was Friday, and we were gearing up for the season, and I was just looking for an excuse to go to the baseball field. So I walked his eligibility paperwork out to him to have him sign off on his team's eligibility. And we sat in the dugout together, and we were catching up on what some of his guys needed last minute to be eligible. We were going over some guys that left the team, and we were just having a normal conversation, just a normal, it was a Friday. We were just chatting, sitting in the dugout. And I remember telling him, hey, send this guy over to our office. We'll get some paperwork done for him. We'll get him ready. And he just smiled and he said, thanks, Jace. Appreciate it. And I remember walking away from the dugout, seeing his smile, and that was my last time seeing John.
That is touching. That is unbelievable. I guess I have to ask you this question because, I didn't know any of these people personally, but, I've been just blown away and hurt by what took place, as we all have. And now my hurt is turning into anger, and I'm sure Coach John Altobelli would not want that to happen. I'm sure all those on that helicopter, including Kobe, would not want us to be angry. However, I'm angry. And Jason, I don't know if you can comment on this, but we learned some revelations today, learning that helicopter was not fit to fly in those conditions, and we're also learning that the pilot was not fit to fly in those conditions, that he can only rely on sight, not on instruments. And when I hear these types of things, and listen, I don't want to speak negatively about the pilot, but when I hear about these things, this was something that could have easily been prevented, Jason, and I'm angry. I'm angry that this should have never happened.
I hadn't heard any of that. That's news to me.
Yeah, it just came out this morning, and it's troubling.
Yeah, I don't know. That's hard to process right now.
Yeah.
I think all I can do is what we've been doing. We're taking it day by day.
Sure.
I don't even know if I can process that right now.
No, I understand. Yeah, that's news that just broke out this morning, and it's certainly troubling news. But the investigation is ongoing, so we're going to continue to cover it. I wanted to ask you about this. I understand that Kobe's wife has put out some sort of GoFundMe page for all the others that lost their lives in that chopper. Can you give us any information on some of the things that you are doing, any information we could get out to our listeners so you can help not just the Altobelli family, but all the others that lost their lives in that crash? What can you guys tell us?
Yeah, we have started through our college foundation. We have a memorial fund that we have started on John's behalf and for JJ and Lexi, his remaining children. One of our coaches, Coach Pia, started a GoFundMe account as well. And my understanding, the Red Sox have an account or a fundraiser they started in honor of the Altobelli family. His son JJ is a scout with the Boston Red Sox, and so it's been tremendous just to know that JJ and Lexi have the support they have, and know that they're being taken care of. That's our number one priority right now. We need their family. We keep talking about Pirate family. John was about Pirate family, and they've always been Pirate family, and now they really. We really need to take care of our Pirate family in this moment.
Yeah, I agree. Jason, can you talk a little bit about his wife, Carrie, and his daughter, Alyssa? For those that were never able to meet them, can you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, Carrie was great. She was so supportive of John. She was at almost every home baseball game, and I always stood not far from the dugout, close to where John called offensive plays on the bottom half of the inning, and she'd come by every time she was there. She'd walk over, talk to John for a minute. She'd say hi. Just incredibly supportive, great mother. Lexi and Liz, amazing young women. The last time I saw Alyssa, she was actually in our gym shooting hoops with John. It was cool to just from across the gym. John just kind of looked up and nodded and gave me a smile, and they just were working on shooting baskets. And I remember both Lexi and Liz when they were little and out on the baseball field, always supporting Dad, and just really beautiful people.
It sounds like John. Correct me if I'm wrong. It just sounds like John and Kobe had a lot in common. Great fathers, great husbands, family people. Family first. Is that pretty accurate to say that?
Absolutely. Coach Johnson has been telling that story. When you meet John, you become family, and he takes care of you as family. And I've definitely felt that since I knew John from my years at another college, and then I came on board, and he gave me that respect and that love, and it was always family. Everything was family. His players were family. He took care of everybody. He's just that awesome.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people. And Jason, let me just say, first of all, thoughts and prayers for the entire community there. And I can't thank you enough for taking some time just sharing some of these stories. I'm sorry for your loss. And it's a horrible tragedy. We all could agree on that. But his legacy, the legacy of his wife and his daughter and everyone else who lost their lives in that helicopter crash on Sunday will live with us and be with us forever. Jason, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Again, we appreciate every chance we can to talk about John. So
Thank you.
A lot.
Thank you. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. That is Jason Kaler, athletic director for Orange Coast College. I'm so glad to hear that the Boston Red Sox are getting involved. In troubled times like this, it's amazing how people come together to help others. That's what Kobe would have wanted. I'm sure that's what Coach John Altobelli would have wanted. And we need to remember all those that lost their lives on that fateful day on Sunday. It's amazing. It hasn't even been a week yet. It's been, 5 days, and I still feel it, man. It's like it's not even real. I watch these games on TV, and I just don't get it. I still can't put it into words. It's so sad.
I watched a video of Kobe Bryant back in 2002 when he went to Rucker Park, and he played in New York City against all those street ballers, and he just destroyed them. But he did things like that on a regular basis. He played basketball whenever he could. He didn't care who he was around. He gave his 100% best effort at all times. He was extremely generous with the media.
Yeah. And I've been searching a lot of different videos that I never would have searched if he was still with us, sadly.
Yeah, exactly.
So last night and the night before, I was watching a video of Kobe coaching his girls' team just in a private gym, and I guess he allowed a camera crew in there just to film it and watch. The great coach that he was so good working with young kids. Keep in mind, this was a guy that played at the highest level for years and years, college, NBA, straight from high school to the NBA. And then he was able to turn that switch off and be patient with these 12-year-old girls, and he did such a wonderful job. It was unbelievable, so touching. So I watched that video. That was a couple days ago. That got me teary-eyed. I was literally crying watching that because it just hurt me to see how good he was, And then yesterday I'm watching some of the TV appearances he's made after he retired. Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and I'm watching a couple of the appearances he made on one on Ellen DeGeneres, for example. A kid had cancer. He was just diagnosed with cancer. This is like an 8-year-old kid. I don't know if he's still alive or not. I hope he is. But Kobe just makes a 3-minute appearance on the show, decides to drive to the Ellen DeGeneres show, very busy schedule. He shows up. He signs jerseys for the kid. He gives him a hug, treating him like it's his own son. And then Ellen DeGeneres asked him, I remember she asked him, why did you decide to be here? Why did you decide to do this? And his answer will resonate with me forever. Whenever I look at a Kobe jersey or look at an image of Kobe, his answer was so simple yet so profound. He said, we are here on this earth for one main reason, and that is to help others when we can. And to me, it resonates with me because I don't always do that. People have called me a very selfish person, and at times I am very selfish, but it makes me think to myself, isn't he so right? We should be here to help other people when we can. You can't help everybody, and obviously if you're Kobe Bryant, you have the means to help people, far more than I could, but at the same time, sometimes helping someone, it's just words. Sometimes helping someone, it's just giving them a confidence, saying something nice.
Or sending them a video like he sent Emmanuel Omogbo.
Yeah.
And Larry Eustace, who came on our show a couple of days ago when he was a coach at Colorado State.
Yeah.
One of his players had his family tragically die over in Africa. And Kobe Bryant didn't know this guy. He didn't know Kobe either, but he heard about the story.
Yeah.
And he sent him a 20-minute personal video basically telling him that things are going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, it hurts, man. You can't. If anyone says anything about me, they can't say I'm fake. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a pretty genuine person, and I'm telling you right now. I mean, I feel it right now. I mean, all week I've been so upset and heartbroken for him and his family and for all the others that lost their lives. It's just such a horrible story. There's just no way around it. It's horrible. And maybe I feel a little bit more closer than many. I was fortunate enough to interview the guy over a dozen times. I was able to see the trash talking with LeBron James in a private gym at Valley High School. I was able to see him sign autographs and take pictures for kids when there were no cameras around. There were no videos around. It was just him signing autographs and taking the time.
And that's what you call integrity.
I mean, the guy just, every time I saw the guy, I remember All-Star Weekend. I remember he did that. I remember USA Basketball. He took the time to do that. I remember, some of the charity events he's done here, the poker tournaments. I mean, the guy spent a lot of time in Las Vegas, and I was fortunate enough to meet him on several occasions, and I just shook his hand and saw him 6 months ago. He doesn't know who the hell I am, but I just said, Mr. Bryant, good to see you. That's all I said to him. I shook his hand, didn't want to bother him. He was sitting there with his daughter. He was very cordial. And my friend Brian Salmon, who works for Channel 3, actually did the last interview that anyone ever did in Las Vegas with Kobe Bryant at that Aces game. And he did a really good job with that. And Kobe rarely ever said no to an interview. And, there's a lot of guys that are 12th man on the bench on an NBA team that say no to interviews. And this guy's going to go down as one of the best, if not the best, basketball player of all time. But hopefully there are plenty of fathers out there, particularly those in the NBA, that could take a page from Kobe's playbook and be more involved in your family's life and your kid's life, because I think there are too many people in the world, not just in the NBA, that do not do that.
And one of the things that I think about that really kind of chokes me up as well is the fact that the only reason that Kobe was on that helicopter with Altobelli and the other family, because their kids all played together. Kobe was the coach, and he wanted those parents. He said, "Hey, how about you come support your kids? And I've got this helicopter. You can just fly with me." I mean, that's how the conversation went. Just get in my helicopter. We'll be fine. But these kids have to have their parents at these games. It helps them out. And I know that's what the conversation was. And he was trying to, to help the entire team, right? To help the players in the team. And this ends up happening out of it. It was all for good reasoning. And that's why all this happened. That's why they were on the helicopter.
It still doesn't feel real. It's not like every day we're going to have guests come on and talk about Kobe Bryant. Certainly, it was very timely to do it this week. But there's going to be, he hasn't even been laid to rest yet, and we're still going to cover this. I can't wait to see how the NBA All-Star weekend, how they honor Kobe. I think it's going to be great. The Super Bowl coming up in a few days. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl in hour number 3, but certainly there's going to be plenty of events and moments of silence for Kobe Bryant, rightfully so. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, earlier in the week, we talked about a UNLV player who had a heart attack in his early 20s. We have an update on that for you, and our producer will be giving us that update coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.